Jenkins, welcome to Game 2 of Team Liquid versus Team Spirit, where if we talked about how to be able to win a finals, one of the things that you hit on, Avery, was being able to have belief in yourself and belief in your teammates. Full belief. And it seems like that theme will continue into this Game 2, as both teams will go on the theme of believing in your draft, or at least your openers, the exact same. Running it back like that in Game 2, particularly for Team Spirit after a loss, is very bold.
There's a point where it bleeds into stubbornness, right? All these things have a vice. I can't help but feeling like Spirit are just underestimating the impact that the Naga had in that game versus the Faceless Void matchup, but particularly that opener on the lane, where it wasn't the Ench, but now the Ench is going to have to be there anyway. Yeah, you do get a switch up here where you didn't show your mid earlier, so you get a better matchup versus Nisha in theory. However, it was the first pick snap in the first place, so you can't really counterpick this hero on mid.
Sure.
And I'm not sure the last pick bat, it's a decent bat game. It ruins the monkey in the team fight. It's going to do okay on the lane. I still think Larl's going to have to step up for Team Spirit to have a better time in the lanes this time around than the first game. And like you said, I guess it might just come down to how much do they believe in the Yatoro Faceless Void to really carry these games from a completely blind position in that lineup.
One thing that's really concerning for me is that Game 1, Naga was an answer to the Faceless Void in multiple ways, but we didn't even necessarily get to see the full effect of that hero against Faceless Void. Was there ever a song to counter the Chronosphere?
No, it just never got. I don't even think the Naga Shard even got picked up at a certain point or had that big an effect.
Yep.
It was just the lane domination that really won Liquid that game. It's way too hard to come back versus a team when they can have heroes that can control the entire map. They have vision advantage over you as well with like the traps and the illusions. And here, it's like a similar idea. They have the Naga and the Mirana. This is a duo that we saw very effectively used at TI-11. So the map control, the laning, the teamfight combination with the Song, net into arrow. There is no save on Team Spirit's side, so you're just going to have to tank it out here. However, this is a much better start, as it's Mira gaining a lane advantage instead of feeding away.
Now, he is still going to feed. He gets a 1-for-1 trade-off, but being able to get that first blood for himself has got to feel good, particularly in a matchup that you do want to relieve the pressure off of Collapse's Timbersaw against this Monkey King in lane.
Yes, if you can create as much solo XP or just experience for Collapse as general, that's how you get through this matchup, just nuking people down, playing very aggressively. You don't want to end up in a situation where you fall behind, and then Liquid can rotate the supports off the side lanes, leave these advantageous 1v1s, and 10 stacks for Nisha.
Yeah,
pushes Larl off of that. I mean,
he just doesn't give a damn about these stacks, man. He just keeps on playing into them over and over and over again.
This is going to be a 10 sticky flame break if Larl wants. He does not want to use all of his mana, however. Very tempting. I might have taken that. Foxy dealing with Stolen Illusion here. And it'll be Miposhka back on the Enchantress. I think this is also a better setup for Team Spirit. So it's like small things they changed in the lineup that are going to alter it, right? Putting Miposhka back on the Enchantress, getting a higher damage, more lane shove-oriented support in the techies here for Mira. Feels a lot more comfortable for them.
Yeah,
Maybe
sadly his impact as 4-position Enchantress against IO Leshrac, like he couldn't harass out the IO or the Leshrac because they have such incredible sustain, so. But in this, this is a kill lane.
And Mira is a very important piece of the puzzle for Team Spirit as well. Like activating him, getting him on heroes that he's comfortable in this series where he can go around, combine with Larl and get that kill squad going. I feel like that's when Spirit have looked their best. When they activate their mid laner, play through him. I think it's a big key part of the meta right now. And Liquid are always going to think about it because, of course, they have played first game in 1,000 times this year. And that is the team that always comes to mind in that sense. So maybe the pressure isn't as much around mid in this series, but I think it is still a big piece if you can get it going. And like last game, I mean, Nisha, he just never died in that game. He never got touched. And the TA controlled the entire map.
Larl, he goes for the kill. So important he gets this. 12 Magic Wand charges, Scatter Blast that isn't quite there because Larl was sitting just on top of him. He will die, but the trade-off is so worth it. He gets the experience lead now over Nisha. It means he might have a chance at another kill when he gets that lasso, especially if Mira rotates for him, something that they didn't really get to see in Game 1.
I mean, it's just super worth it from a standpoint of shutting Nisha down alone. That is valuable here. You're doing it on a Batrider, which is a hero that needs to kind of get these trade-offs in the momentum, and you brought the Rubik teleport over, which is great for Insania. Pretty rough for Mikke as he gets left in the 1v2 and will get some decent regen burn. Also some free time for Collapse to push into the level 4 here on the Timbersaw where you're not pressuring him off the lane because you have the Rubik to back you up. So overall, pretty decent start for Spirit. I mean, exceptionally decent compared to last game. Doesn't get much worse than that. But here, you're looking at Yatoro on top of the CS board and a solo kill mid. It's kind of what you want. Just eke out some small victories here, get through this laning phase, set yourself up better to deal with the map pressure that eventually will come from this Naga. It's something you'll have to think about. As Ice Armor comes into play, everybody's favorite spell.
That's going to help that lane. He is looking really good in CS right now. Again, especially compared to game number 1. Blood grenade thrown out. Mira, he's going to have to go for a blast off away from mid-game. That's going to be good enough, though it will cost them Courier. Leveling up Whirling Death means Collapse is a little bit more offensive power, but he's more susceptible to the damage. Nice tree plant. Uses the Ironwood branch, places it down to get the Timber Chain, to get the kill. Unfortunately, while small tactics may have won them that kill, the overall strategy is probably going to cost them 2. Nice kill there from Mira, being able to get the tree and prevent himself from giving up the Jingu stacks and maybe a second kill.
That was his last tango. Very small technical plays. I guess we'll eke out a sort of even trade. I don't know if you want to put core kills into the Monkey King, though. That was a very aggressive move by Collapse. He maybe just felt like he wanted to go back to heal, so you force some trade into he gets full HP and comes back. Didn't want to sit on this lane at half. Let's see if it pays off over the long term as Poposhka battling Boxy for creeps. We'll take an Alpha Wolf, throw some damage back into him. It will be an impetus build from him, so the Enchantress going to be a little squishier here, but will it be able to contribute a lot more damage in these early fights, which tells me that Spirit want to go
missed the cookie off the mark. Larl, he may have Nisha's number in this laning phase. Got the kill first on him, then dodges the attempt with the kisses.
And Poshka was forced to take that Arcane rune, so neither mid will get that rune that they really wanted, and the level 6 advantage for Nisha.
How did he get level 6 after... Didn't Larl get the kill on Nisha first?
He definitely had
gotten a level advantage?
He has just way more denies, like 12 more denies. It'll get you there a little faster.
Wow.
As Larl will pick up his level 6, and still pretty even here on that mid lane. If you get a roam going into it here, I think the Batrider technically has more aggressive potential if you can get the stickies onto the Snapfire here with the Enchantress.
It's going to start now.
He's really far
he's so close to that tower. Larl, he'll bump him back. He's got the lasso ready to go. The TP is coming in. The Fade Bolt is just not going to do enough to stop this damage. Or maybe it will. The Telekinesis stun back.
Another blood grenade.
Yet another blood grenade, and the Impetus lands. That's enough.
TP the Monkey King of all heroes here. Mickey is just gonna TP to run back the bottom.
Immediately Larl tips him. Collapse too. They know that was a poor TP for Liquid.
This is where Team Spirit want to fight. Again, trying to activate their mid with the Enchantress Roam. This is where this hero shines as long as their side laners are happy and being left alone. I say that as Yatoro is definitely not happy being left alone here. Naga Marana, this is a very old school combo. And one Zai is very familiar. This is actually a combo that he played back in the day with Universe at TI6.
Yeah.
I think even at TI7 it was popular. Now he's on the other end of that 3-4 trade. Experience, it always comes back in value. You just never know how.
In Dota 2, especially when we're constantly going in cycles.
It's a giant circle. It's just a question of where are you on it. And Seed Shot will come through and clear through this with some dilation. No 6 for Zai. He is 1 experience off.
Oh, that is going to hurt if he dies because, he gets it now. But he doesn't need to use it. The kisses are going to nail him. Yatoro dies with Boxy scooping into the backside, and they're going to give Poposhka once again. Mickey being hyper-aggressive. The IO Leshrac combination, he makes the early rotations. Now on the Monkey King, as he is prone to do, he will set up through the gate and help them get some big, big kills around the Tier 1 tower.
Just perfect execution here from Liquid. They bring 5 to that crash, and they get everything they want out of it. A double core kill. Zai even TPing out during the song, just for max efficiency.
I love that Mickey tipped Collapse back there. He's like, oh, you thought that mid-rotation was funny. What do you think about that rotation, huh?
2 can play that game as Yatoro with a second death to lead things off. If Zai go down here, maybe you're a little happy with this exchange, but you just got nothing out of this fight. You got a TP on a Timbersaw. Collapse is going to have to walk out the base after being stalled up with a little song that Zai says, see you later. I don't even need the XP from this.
And this is one of the downsides of Batrider is I do think you always reach this lull where you're working towards Boots of Travel, but you don't quite have it, so you don't have this constant presence around the map, and you're a pretty poor hero to pressure the mid tower as well. So he didn't really get much off of that. Mid tower didn't take much damage. It's not like Larl got a huge amount of farm anywhere on the map. And as a result, Liquid maintain a net worth lead off of the laning phase. But this would do a lot to offset this. Mira and Maposhka going for a gank on Denisha, who Scatterblast TP's out.
Impetus.
Oh, the Impetus doesn't quite reach him.
Those crowns, extra HP here. Now they will be able to steal the stack, so at least they're getting something for this. And that was only 2 supports. The question is, where was the Batrider? Like you were saying, he was just trying to farm up this boots of travel. If that's 30 seconds faster, Larl could connect to that play. And suddenly, you're looking at a Nisha kill into the stack steal. They'll try and commit for the Ancients here as well.
I guess this is the part where the Batrider is still advantageous, stealing away stacks.
Yeah, this feels good. This is not something Spirit were able to accomplish last game at all. And the TA just kind of ran away with it. But this Naga pressure is going to heat up. And it will eventually come to fruition here as he's out farming Yatoro, taking away his camps right now with the Naga Siren.
Gotcha.
You're gonna have to keep playing through the Batrider, keep finding kills with the lasso, not leave Collapse on an island either, as he's still having troubles in this Monkey King matchup. This is a hero you have to kick out. Like, Mickey's gonna be able to defend towers this game. It's gonna take the Bat rotating to kick the Monkey off the lanes to convert into the objectives here for the Timbersaw and the Enchantress, which means maybe some earlier smoke moves to set all that up. Of course, you have some vision on the side of Team Liquid like last game between the Naga Siren Illusions and the Mirana ulti. You're very happy to combat those moves if you can bring numbers like you did earlier. Finally, Collapse will have a Vanguard at a reasonable time here.
Yeah, those first couple of items are so important considering what happened in game 1. I'm thinking about the Vanguard and Collapse being tankier, but also Yatoro's Manta, right? He had a very, very large window where he was dying to Ensnare, dying to Orchid. If this game Ensnare into Arrow is going to be a really big problem for him, he needs that Manta fast. He has the Asha right now, and I think he's trying to forsake even the Treads just to get it that much quicker.
Dispel's the name of the game, especially if you can get to the BKBs. Like, BKBs are where Team Spirit's lineup becomes scary because then that combo goes away. A lot of your damage from the Snapfire goes out the window until way later when the talents come online.
And you just walk out of the Wukong's command.
Exactly. There's not a lot of BKB lockdown here for Liquid outside of maybe an Ags later on the Naga Siren, which could be interesting if you try and combat that timing from Team Spirit. Might see it earlier on Zai than his item build from last game, which was a lot more aggressive as the Team Spirit cores are keeping a better pace this time around. Still behind on the tower advantage, as that safe lane tower went down for Team Spirit. Liquid able to capitalize on that, and a Moonlight Shadow to try and scout out the map.
Tower is under attack.
You're going to look for Yatoro in this jungle. 2-hero combination with the Atos done on Nisha will guarantee an arrow landing, and this is a max arrow build from Boxy. So if you land this spell, it's a lot of burst damage. And a lot of connection that Liquid don't have to commit on. Like, you can just poke with this Atos Scatterblast arrow, and all of a sudden you might just die, you might get caught off guard.
A similar move here from Team Spirit as they're going to bring Larl's Batrider. If they can get around here behind Mickey,
Nice angle.
may just end up rotating into them. Oh, this timing on whether or not he stays on the trees is so important. The smoke's gonna break. Larl has a chance. Wukong's command, though. Yeah, Team Spirit realizing, okay, he's somewhere up in these trees. We gotta get out of here. No longer do we have the advantage of surprise. Larl is gonna be hit by the Boundless Strike, and the arrow perfectly placed by Boxy. That leads into the Rod of Atos, and a whole heap of chains disables. That'll end with Nisha claiming the head of Larl.
Nice positioning from Mickey. Felt like they knew that move was coming there. And the single napalm, you had a 50-50. You either throw it down or you throw it up. Unfortunately for Larl, he guesses wrong. Liquid able to turn it around. Those are those types of defensive tier 1 fights that Liquid are happy to take here, especially once they have the bots done on Nisha. The reaction time is just going to be instant. You have Song to turn around, you have Kisses, you have this Moonlight Shadow that might make the initiation awkward for Team Spirit. It was a problem last game in terms of where do you get these tier 1 towers down, how do you commit for them. It's a similar issue here, as Collapse has just not been able to assert his hero around these objectives. Might just be another fairly slow passive game from Team Spirit as they try and match the farm rates.
Bottom tower is
at least that part's going better for him here. Yatoro not getting pressured as much, at least past that early laning stage here.
Yes. Hey, do you feel like Team Liquid are... I don't know, I feel like they can't actually apply the same level of pressure, actually end the game as quickly as they did in game 1.
That's probably true. This is a bit of a slower lineup. The TA really accelerated those Roshans into the building damage.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to that a little bit more here with the Monkey Snap. But the Monkey Snap are also maybe scarier in the ultra late. like with 5 or 6 slots and some refreshers and stuff. So if you just push this game very late, you don't necessarily need to accelerate it as fast here for Liquid if you're comfortable farming up and playing the map. Especially if you're securing.
Wukong's man and a fast kill onto Mira. Gets it. So Mickey and his patience is rewarded once again. The first time from dodging the gank from Larl, the smoke gank, and now the second time being able to find a kill on Mira and then head straight to lane. Maposhka, he's going to be caught here probably by the arrow. Maxed out arrow, maxed level 1 ensnare, but it still lasts long enough.
This is going to be a deadly combination, especially with Moonlight Shadow to just get the Naga in for free. You send the illusions, you can't even see the real one. Suddenly, this combination just nukes you down from afar.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point because we talk so much about the advantage that Team Spirit, they really like playing around with vision. And it's something that they actually lacked both in Game 1 and Game 2, and Team Liquid actually have the advantage. Naga Siren is kind of a vision hero because she shoves out the lane so much, right?
There are two big factors when you go deep at land and people start to play a little tenser, a little more scared. If you can get massive team fight or you can get massive vision, it just makes your game way more comfortable. You feel like you have Slain to fall back on. Even if sometimes it's a trap, you do get baited sometimes into playing like a worse style of Dota. It just feels more natural. There's a reason this Beastmaster and Darkseer got banned first too. One, it's limiting Collapse's hero pool, but two, those were two of the best vision heroes for Team Spirit in controlling the map, pushing the waves in, setting up the fights.
Right.
Here it's another game where they have the vision disadvantage, something they used to like it for in that Game 3 in the upper bracket.
Zai, real one found, but the song goes off first. They are super grouped up, but Liquid do not feel confident trying to go for that. You saw Yatoro really wanted to somehow get a Chronosphere in there to stop Zai from getting out, but it just doesn't happen. Maybe he still catches Nisha, though. I can't believe anybody from Liquid is still around.
He
juked him. Oh, he somehow stays out of vision. The Monkey King is going to be the one to die instead. The blast off lands on him, and he's surrounded by heroes. Too much for him to handle. He tries to trickery dodge, but there's way too much. The kisses, that is enough to get the Techie's kill. The Fire Burn will take that, but a 1-for-1 trade-out to the advantage of Team Spirit as they trade core for support.
They're very happy with that exchange. They get a lot of farm for Yatoro off this as he just gets to head bottom. And
okay, maybe it's a 2-for-1. Larl still gets caught on the way out by the Rod of Atos into the arrow. Another combo that Liquid have to play around boxing.
Was that just off the Watcher vision? That's pretty ridiculous value if it was. Just a nice heads-up cut by Collapse, and something that this Monkey King is going to have to think about this game is he's not going to have a fast BKB here. The Timber and the Bat Rider can find you and just cut you down. Even a Chronosphere might commit you to that grave.
And yes, it was the Watcher.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that. That's the value of Watchers here. You never know when they'll pay you back. And that is pre-BKB for Larl on this Bat Rider, an item he desperately needs in this game to feel confident committing into these fights. However, that's a Manta style for Yatoro with only 2 deaths.
Much better game 2 for him, as there's the ensnare. Arrow is not going to be there because of the creeps. They try and hit it to telekinesis, but there goes the Manta. Now he turns around, gets a 2-man Chronosphere. He does need a little bit more damage. He'll get the kill on Insania, but what about Nisha? They slow him down with time dilation and the enchant. He's not going anywhere. Immediate smoke up from Team Spirit afterwards, too. This is the timing that they want to keep playing with here. They want to move aggressively into Team Liquid.
And Yatoro straight back to top. He's getting so much farm off these side lanes while this is happening. The difference having these items a couple minutes ahead of time makes, right? Compare this to last game where that pickoff would have just killed Yatoro and probably gotten Liquid a good team fight. Here, a single Manta able to turn it around with a 2-man Chrono. And you have some decent damage to pour into the Chronospheres this game. That is the one thing about these Team Spirit drafts they always make sure they have. It's not just about what the Faceless Void does, it's what does Time Dilation and Chrono do for the rest of the fight. You have Impetus, you have Flame Break, you have a Chakram, you have Techie spells. All 4 of these heroes can contribute to the trapped units inside that Chronosphere. Very good spell for Team Spirit this game if you do not counteract it with the song. And this is much more even and much more what we expected out of the series, as Liquid are not going to run this game over with a lane when they're going to have to team fight their way through Team Spirit this game. And that is where they shine. The spell immunity will come out eventually, as well as BKB finished for Larl. So all 3 of those Dispel items that Team Spirit were looking for in Game 1 are already done by the 19-minute mark here in Game 2.
And he hasn't even completed the Orchid, which is still going to be effective to go, don't get me wrong, it's just not going to be the same kind of power.
It's not free.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work for it with the kills. And another Tier 1 push for Team Spirit.
Another Chakram stolen as well for Insania. That'll help defend this tower.
Even the little potato contributing.
Larl, he's going to pop out from that high ground, pull in Insania. gets that kill. Now Nisha's gonna bots in, see if he can still hold this tier 1, but you gotta be careful. Lotus Orb already picked up, the arrow's not gonna quite latch, and that means Larl, he doesn't go for that any further. Just pushing him away from the tier 1 tower is good enough for him.
Team Spirit very happy with this. Yatoro gets the farm. I guess the Naga is matching him, and Zai did pick up a tier 1 of his own. So honestly, Zai making the most of these scenarios. I thought that was going to be a bigger swing for Spirit. The Naga's just pulling ahead on the map right now, and the Orchid is basically completed here. That threat is online. Is it going to net as many pickoffs as it did in game 1? That's the big question here. Can you make this Orchid work for you? Because when you go Orchid second on Naga, you're committing a lot more to controlling the map and pushing heroes out of zones as opposed to a second item Heart or a Butterfly Rush where maybe you can force the 5-on-5 a bit stronger and your illusions are way stronger on the map. Something that is hard to deal with right when those items come out.
Can you run me through some scenarios of how he's going to use this Orchid against all these kind of dispels? Like, how is it still going to be successful for him in finding these pickoffs?
You can start the fight with like a Song into Arrow or Song into Wukong, and you force some of the dispel early, or you just trap heroes in that arena. Maybe the Soulburn Burst is just good enough. Post BKB is when it's going to be most effective, right? You force early BKBs out of the bat, put Larl in a position where maybe he BKB last with somebody, but you get a Song in return, isolate the BKB, it runs out, you just Orchid somebody up and kill them. I think it's an item that can be good versus Yatoro over the long duration fights. It's just, if he finds the initiation, that's where that item is not going to feel as good as like a Heart or Butterfly here. Because your illusions aren't as strong to scout, and when you get jumped, that Orchid is not doing anything for you in terms of survivability. Yeah, so it's banking a lot on the vision and initiation power from this Mirana Naga on the map and finding those openings and just bursting you down. The Bloodthorn later, if you want to commit to it as well, is pretty strong in this game. Like, it'll help Zai commit to a 6-slot right-click Naga here, which is maybe something they're banking on going late in this game.
Under attack.
Yeah, I mean, you identified it pretty early on. Monkey King, Snapfire, great scaling into the late game. It does feel like Team Spirit is hitting this window where right now they're going to feel okay with fights. Soon they get BKBs, then they're going to be super dominant. And very likely, I think that's when they want to try and end the game. I don't know if I want to play into 3 scaling liquid heroes, liquid cores.
I think the Snapfire is the biggest threat. And that might just come down to finding initiations on him with the Chrono or the Lasso. You get good jumps, anything is doable here.
Yeah, it's not going to be the easiest to kill him if he gets BKB off
before Chronosphere. But the Spirit are finding a lot more on the map this time around. They're finding a tier 2 bottom with the rally. They're controlling at least half the map, so they're splitting the farm. And Collapse is in a way better position, man. Like, it cannot be underestimated how much more he has found in this game than last time. And he will be able to scale here. Look at him, Bloodstone, Shard. See what he ends up committing for.
I think what's
for some tankability.
What's interesting about it is that the draft, when you kind of run it back, right? Same openers and stuff, you're kind of saying our idea is correct. And in a way, both teams ended up being correct. Like, we'll see how it plays off for the rest of the game, but at least initially this looks like an even game that any team can win. Team Spirit are certainly going to be able to hit their timings, and now it just comes down to execution for them. Liquid, they have this crazy late game timing. They still have some outplays they can do around these dispels with the Orchid.
And their initiation with the Song, last game I think that Song was waiting there to be a counter initiation tool. This game you can use it aggressively to set up a Wukong in the arrow.
Sania dead again to another Lasso. Now, Liquid is going to respond here. Playing with the Moonlight Shadow, they're going to push forward in a 4 versus 5. The Mind's going to get the heads up, though.
They're looking for a clump, maybe Yatoro. Yatoro does not have BKB, so you in theory can Song Arrow him here.
Got the Rod of Atos with the arrow. Now there's a hero there. They just can't see him right now. And they would much rather play around their vision, especially when Yatoro's coming in with the Chronosphere.
He's looking so aggressively right now.
Oh. He had an idea that Mickey was there, and he was correct about that.
That's one of those moments you don't know, man. You throw that out, it might just win you a game.
If he had done that, that would have been one of the most fearless things I've ever seen in a finals. Just like blind, just like, I bet he's here.
Larl's going to find Nisha, but no Lasso here. Nisha knows it. Yeah, Grant Theft Lotus back to mid lane. As the Naga continue to push in these waves, pushing towards the heart for Zai. This Orchid has not been what he was looking for, I think, so far. I mean, we're looking at the net worth between the Void and the Monkey. The thing that struck me about that is the amount that Yatoro has gotten off lane creeps compared to Mickey this game. That tells me that he's been aggressively shoving these side lanes in, and the pickoff has not been there for Liquid. Sure. Whenever you get that done as a Faceless Void, you feel really good. Because this hero, it's almost like a Phantom Assassin. Like, you want to be farming some waves for, you know, first 15, 17 minutes, whatever it is, until you get, you know, Mask of Madness, Maelstrom, whatever it is. Then you can move into the jungle and you feel way more efficient. So the fact Yatoro got that much off the lanes in a game where, in theory, Liquid could have punished him with 1 or 2 more kills, it just puts him in a really nice position here. And they gave him the priority from Spirit. He was gobbling up both side lanes here as Larl, he kind of took a more sacrificial role on this bat and found farm where he cut off the camps. So his net worth's a little lower, but he's got what he needs right now, which is bots, BKB, Blink. You have your initiation tool online, you're splitting the map right now, and it'll be a smoke top from Liquid as they look for the TP in. It's Collapse, tankiest target in the game. Do you have the burst for him?
They're going to try with the kisses. I think that's enough magic damage. He is going to die. They'll take the tier 2 as well. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they push out and catch Boxy, and will try and do the same with his tier 2. It looks like both teams will be successful in their endeavors. A stalemate continues here in Game 2 of Liquid and Team Spirit.
That Timbersaw melts pretty fast if you get that Timber Chain cancel. Gets out of the Wukong, maybe it's a little bit of a different story. That is a nice gank into a tower for Liquid, as they will match Spirit on the map in a perfectly even game here at the 25-minute mark. We have a 50 XP differential and a 1,000 gold differential. Balance in all things.
Just what you want to see in a grand finals.
Especially a game 2 where Team Spirit bounce back.
I could use a few more kills, but that's just me.
Can't get ready. That's game 3.
Well, Poshka is going to get picked off here. Team Spirit going to leave him behind. Looks like Mira may be caught as well. Oh, the 4-step! It cuts down Mickey's tree that he was hopping to. Not that anything's going to come of that, of course, as they will very easily be able to bring down the second support, and that now means Zai, he doesn't even have to go back to base after getting low because he's completed a heart.
Time to start pushing the lanes in. Double support kill for Team Liquid here will give a lot of space to control the map. They have pretty decent Radiant Wards as well. I mean, they're scouting Yatoro. You would really like to get a gank on this Faceless Void soon. I feel like if you let him get the BKB here, he starts to become immortal, right? There's not a lot that guarantees you the all-in initiation on him outside of Ronald just setting up a perfect stun. That's going to be difficult to be as Manta and the BKB.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Less valuable as well. They just haven't been able to find him. And he's setting up.
He caught him. He caught him big time. He baited out that creep wave. Moonlight Shadow, but with the... Oh, no! They don't have any detection. Lasso doesn't reveal, so they're going to miss out. Wukong's command is actually going to be used. They're going to try and burst him. BKB going off for Mickey. He'll protect himself. They chase after Larl. They chase after Yatoro. Both of them will be able to get away, but they do not get away with murder. That's what they were hoping for. And in fact, Larl may still die here. Flame Break will protect him a little bit.
He needs to hide for the blink.
Hide.
He should get away here.
One more second, a blink, and a TP. He's good.
Maybe Team Spirit looked top. He brought a lot of heroes bottom for Liquid. Just not nearly enough damage. You can't get the Firefly on the Monkey and the Chrono, and you have to lasso him early there because, of course, you do not have Dust. As cores do not buy Dust in Dota 2. It's not available in their shop.
Very unfortunate. When is Ice Rock going to unlock
Maybe the next patch it'll be there. It's like you have to think about with this Ronald. These heroes don't get bursted that fast. Numbers fight for Liquid, they just ran everybody up here.
And since Mickey's still alive, he'll help join in on an Enchantress kill. Collapse, he needs to get out of here. Beautiful blast off from Mira. A couple of mines laid out, still not enough to finish off Mickey. Gets a cookie, he's hopping away.
He's bleeding out.
Is he bleeding out? The time dilation, it's too many slows. All of his spells put on cooldown.
Lasso back up, and it will secure a second here as he drags him into Yatoro. Double kill for the Faceless Void, and Roshan is up. That'll be the BKB completed for Yatoro as well. He might just make the call to commit here. Song on cooldown, your Monkey dead for 45. A bad place on the map to die if Team Spirit can convert on the objective. I don't know if they have enough damage and enough time. It's going to be really close. They're going to BKB out of Larl. Should be fine here.
That could help them contest that Roshan. Ensnare is eventually going to hit after the BKB wears out, and they're still going to gun for it here. Gunning quite literally as the Scatter Blast looks to finish him off, but it's not good enough. Collapse, running interference. Insania trying to use his own Timber Chain to get away from the Timbersaw.
tower
Trying to
is
juke
under
him
attack.
backwards, but without a telekinesis, he needs a disable to really get away from this one.
And I like the early flamethrower pickup for Collapse. It really helps you commit on these supports and just solo kill them in the back of the fight. If Team Liquid do not want to commit big spells on this 3000 HP Timbersaw, he's pretty damn tanky. And the whole time you were doing Roche. So while you were messing around trying to kill Larl, Yatoro will gobble up the objective here and get a second life on the Faceless Void. Second net worth in the game, only behind Zai, but Zai has not had that game routing impact he did in game 1, and this game has slowed down. And finally, I think for the first time in the series, Team Spirit claim a net worth lead.
Yeah, it's finally there.
30 minutes into game 2, they will take it. Now, I fully expect them to give it up, as, of course, they do not like playing from ahead.
Of course,
it's not
of
a position
course.
they are comfortable with.
At the same time, they have kind of hit a window, right?
Oh, they're very strong right now. You just got that level 20 talent on the Faceless Void as well, so the damage just skyrocketed for Yatoro. And of course, you have so much to throw in the Chrono on top, and it doesn't need to be him. And you got a second bots on the Timbersaw. So you have this Chronosphere that's deadly on the map, and you have 2 other cores that can bots into anything Yatoro finds. Team Spirit have created a decent threat of their own, which is going to help them shove these waves in aggressively, or at least make Liquid scared to show with some of their big core heroes like the Monkey King. If you get picked off 1 or 2 more times on the mid-game Monkey, you're going to lose a lot of lane pressure. And it's something that has been the bane of him on this hero for this tournament, right? He's looked great on it. The itemization's been on point. It's just a dangerous hero to play because you give up these pickoffs every now and then as you're playing aggressively. That is a big risk. They're going to find little Rubik here.
Yeah, they really wanted to be able to kill Zai, especially now that Zai pushes into their jungle. Meanwhile, they're going to go for the chain sunbound, the strike, into the cookie, into the arrow. Is it enough? Ever so barely it is.
You have to get out, though.
Yes.
That was all of your stun action. And the bots heroes will come in to back up Yatoro, but that is a free Aegis here.
Yeah, fortunately, Haste Rune will help Nisha get out of there.
And look at this, an Aghanim Scepter, 4th for the Faceless Void. Very interesting itemization from Yatoro as he just wants the AoE time off bash when he leaps in versus the Naga. It'll be decent, and Chronosphere, do you have the damage here?
This is a hard kill. He just picked up Butterfly alongside that heart. This could give him a window to get up the song and get out. They use the BKB. They want this kill so badly, and they will have it. The bashes come raining in, while Collapse creates a little bit of time here as they try and go onto the Timbersaw. It's not quite good enough, and now Liquid, they may be stalled up. Yatoro's coming, and he wants even more. Blast off, not gonna land onto Boxy, catching up to Insania though. Time dilation put onto him. Insania will turn that time dilation back around, but Yatoro still on his sidewalk. Immediately jumps forward. Looks like Mira's gonna be dying, but they have the Century to reveal Nisha this time around. Can he get out the Rod of Atos? Now Cookie, Scatter Blast, that's gonna do a lot of damage, but the bashes, man, the bashes do not stop for Yatoro.
Yatoro praying to the RNG gods, and they return his favor here. That's a triple kill for him. They route 4 heroes from Liquid completely off the map, off a single chrono catch on a Naga Siren that had been deathless up to that point. Everything collapsing here in the last few minutes for Liquid as they cannot get the map pressure they were looking for. They cannot find the pickoffs, and that'll be an Aghanim Scepter for a Faceless Void who is becoming an absolute beast in this game. Butterfly timing for what? Kisses for what? None of this matters if I just run up to you and bash you into oblivion.
Back into the game, we do have Liquid getting a pickoff on the other support.
That was a gem.
Oh, and yeah, that kill is worth way more than it should have been.
Very valuable support kill here.
Immediately nets them
back.
a ward kill as well for Zai. Hey, I want to talk to you about a concept here. The Naga Siren, this is something that you occasionally bring up, is this concept of this hero, it gobbles up a ton of farm on the map. And as an offlaner, he is the top net worth for Team Liquid. Impressive, yes, but it also means he's taking away a lot of farm for Team Liquid. You kind of see in that last fight. They used Chronosphere, they used BKBs, but they killed the Naga, which means they had the advantage. And they just go for it. Is this going to be a problem for Liquid? The fact that Nisha and Mickey won't be able to scale as well as they could if there wasn't this offlaner hero taking 50% of the farm on the map.
It does vacuum some net worth away from your cores. This hero will always do it. It just takes so many last hits, and it's something you have to play for. You have to get deep and start cutting waves. I mean, 400 last hits, right? Nisha's at the bottom. He's suffering in the net worth. You have 3 carries. Everybody's trying to carry the game. Sometimes nobody ends up carrying the game here. And this is a game where Naga doesn't just 1v5 it late. You're going to need at least 1.5 out of those 2 other cores to come online at some point. Especially the Snapfire if you can get Nisha there. Like, you'd rather have the end gold on the Snap than the Naga here.
Yeah.
If Zai can't snowball the game win out, which is right now not happening. That is a concern. Like, how much are you actually taking off the map and what are you doing with it here? Sometimes the best way you play versus Naga is just put the team in a position where all that Naga net worth is not going to translate into the victory. And then it just doesn't do anything for you. It becomes a dead hero sometimes in these ultra late games. That's what Yatoro is trying to set up for here with the itemization.
Yeah. What Zai is doing is he is always trying to take the hardest farm on the map to be able to take and leave, such as the triangle, over to his other cores. Boxy's very likely to have got here. No way out of this one without leaps and without Moonlight Shadow. So rotation through the gates will pay off for Team Spirit as they
go straight back through.
Yeah, go back through, play for the side lanes even more.
If they had that gem right now, you'd be dewarding all this as well. You'd feel really good. We'll still find it.
Get it.
And as he has a bunch of sentries. Definitely not sad about this one. The other thing about this Axe on the Faceless Void, it almost guarantees song cancels, right?
Sure.
Potentially on multiple heroes without the BKB. Like, you might just be able to leap into the song and get the bash off the Time War.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea. Like, if they try and song TP out, yeah, that is cool.
This item's very interesting this game. It's not one we usually see it picked up this early. I mean, cool if you can put it to use. They'll try on Larl. He has BKB here. Lotus of his own.
Time to go.
Drag him out.
Trying to use that haste rune. The Ogre Steel Totem doesn't go over the cliff. The haste rune isn't going to last forever, but it doesn't matter against Chronosphere. You stop time, you stop Nisha from running around. Now, Zai still finds openings here. He gets the mid-tier 2, and they steal Chronosphere, by the way, on the Rubik as well. So maybe that's not effective against Yatoro, but could be good for the next team fight against the rest of Spirit.
Collapse found a Hex on the Naga. Early Hex pickup from him, just going in, creating a front line and lockdown potential. Make the fights easier for the Chronosphere and the lasso to come through. As Larl has stepped back and gone more defensive with that second Lotus Orb. So now you have 2 Dispels for these nets, for the Orchid. A lot of the control that Liquid are relying on. You just get rid of it if Team Spirit are grouped up together. I think you have to start finding fights on single targets, isolating some cores, using the Moonlight Shadow, especially to your advantage here, and just kind of play the map more. Head-on 5-on-5s just don't look favorable for Liquid right now, especially heading into this next Roshan. This Faceless Void is almost level 25. That is an insanely powerful talent this game. He just gobbles up the Wisdom Rune. No hesitation here, as Yatoro knows this game is his to claim with that backtrack talent. 9 and 2, 400 last hits here. He has matched a Naga Siren. Through.
Big timings, level 25 on him. We've got Scotty complete and a Basher. So we've got Scotty for the Naga Siren and the Basher for the Monkey King. So you were talking about some of the control problems for Team Liquid. They get 2 different items that can help with that concept.
Size damage starting to ramp up. You can get this Naga into the Bloodthorn especially. It's really going to shine here. If you manage to catch that Faceless Void with a stun, he can disappear. There's no save in this game. When you have a Hurricane Pike on the Enchantress, you have some Lotus Orbs, but nothing's going to get rid of an arrow.
Oh god,
the arrow is still king if you do not BKB it.
4.6k building damage on Zai. He really is trying to do so much of the work in this game. Liquid set him up to take the most amount of farm, and he's doing what he can with that farm, taking buildings, tier 2s, getting pickoffs, almost getting a tier 3 even.
Aggressive bots by Nisha. His invis here, also level 20 on the Snapfire. So that late game scale starting to get there. They also have that telekinesis save. That's something to think about here when you go in with the lassos and these hexes. You're trying to find a core. If you can throw them back quickly from Insania, might just reset the fight for your Monkey or your Naga, force a better clump out of Team Spirit, and then you can just song them into a Wukong. I wonder if that's something Liquid are even thinking about. Like, do they even feel good if they get a massive song Wukong here? Is that a fight you're winning?
Yeah, that's going to be hard. But, I mean, I think in some ways anything to stop the initiation first from Spirit. Because now they have Aghanim Scepter on the Batrider. So you combine, if they get the jump on Chronosphere, let's say they catch the Naga, right? Okay, Chronosphere on Naga Siren. Then Larl jumps to the back line and gets a 2-man lasso and pulls them in as well. I struggle to see how Spirit's going to be feeling good about that fight. I think they're going to probably lose a couple of heroes, and limp away.
Well, Spirit will feel good.
Yes, that's
Liquid definitely not. As Roshan evaporates here to this MKB. Yatoro bought out for this. He'll be rewarded with a second life.
Now it does cost them their tier 3 and maybe even ranged barracks in the top lane.
Zai is ratting. That has been his MO a lot of the
They're going to try and catch some heroes before they can get back here. The Harpoon's going to be put to use to pull him into the arrow, but their Yatoro is going to go for this kill on BK, but they have the song. They hit him with the telekinesis. The Chronosphere is going to be wasted.
He could not
No
BKB.
time for the BKBs. Let's see if they can get the stuns off, though. Larl taking a lot of damage as he tries to get out of the Wukong's command, forced to use the cheese while the Rod of Atos catches Yatoro. He pops a Manta, time walks back into the side. Time dilation being given away is a dangerous spell, though.
Just going in.
And Collapse just goes for it. Immediately gets arrowed in, and the stun comes out of nowhere to hit Yatoro as he tries to jump in. They are getting nothing out of this one. He jumps back in with a time walk. Finally, he's going to lose his life. But Team Spirit, they have to buy back to help out Yatoro here. He's in big time trouble. He pops BKB. He does manage to get mid-game. Can this BKB net him another core kill?
If you can kite out another snare orchid here, you might be able to take down Yatoro.
Foxy, he gets that one as well. Zai, the remaining hero now with nobody left besides the buyback on Insania. He comes
illusions.
in.
He can turn.
He is going to turn, but Yatoro with that time walk is doing a lot of AoE damage. Zai, he goes to the TP out. Now the Yatoro goes back in, but the Aghanim Sem went to work. He catches Zai on the TP out, and they will actually wipe Team Liquid. More than that, they get 6 kills out of it.
It cost them an expensive buyback on Collapse. It cost them the cheese. It cost them the Aegis. Not the cleanest fight that Spirit wanted out of there. It looked pretty damn dicey there for a minute. But they do get that eventual team wipe and a dieback on the Rubik. So all things considered, they are still happy with that exchange. But it probably cost them more than they wanted to give up at that time. Liquid finding a pretty big opening there. That Chrono song really hurt Yatoro. He had his BKB in his backpack because the man's just too damn wealthy here and wanted the Aegis.
I mean, Yatoro, he said, let's do it, let's run it back. Let's play the Faceless Void against the Naga Siren. Because I don't need the Chronosphere with the build-up I'm going to go for. I'm going to go an Aghanim Scepter, and boy, did it pay off in that last
And he just ate it. So he's going to free up that slot for the BKB now. We'll take an arrow.
Here. If only anybody was alive from Team Liquid.
And that level 25 for the Timber, double Chakram coming out. Even more damage to just pump into these Chronos as Collapse is pretty happy with how this game is going.
How much is he going to get out of this? Team Liquid are still not having the Naga Siren for a significant window.
And Chrono's back up. So you're pretty happy to take a fight on your terms if you're Team Spirit, as long as the Timbersaw doesn't go down first. It's just, what are those terms? I mean, you're pushing towards a Satanic for Yatoro. He is absolutely massive here.
Moonlight Shadow, Shadow Blade, so many options here for Liquid to find the pickoff on the way out. But going for Collapse, that's too difficult.
Yeah, these two heroes alone cannot kill him. You need more. You need the Monkey King. And that's such a tempting kill. It would be a dieback for Collapse. Just need more damage on the Snapfire. No way around it. You need more physical burst to take these extended fights and find the Faceless Void. If Yatoro doesn't have to like stand there and hit people. If he's just jumping around with these time locks on top of time dilations, it's going to win you the long fight. You can't TP out of it. You can't run away. They're just so debilitating. The chase down potential for Spirit is immense. You have to be able to stand your ground, especially in the Wukong. These two big ults, the Monkey Ring and the Chronosphere, decide a lot in the fight. Who gets stuck in one and who doesn't get stuck in the other.
Yeah, Mickey just hit him. He's hitting a massive time. He hasn't gotten there yet, but with the tier 4 items out, he got the best one for Monkey King in the Penta Edge Sword.
That feels good.
That is big. And if you get the level 25 with the Abyssal Blade that he completed, now you can get a song, you could set up Wukong's command, you could get an Abyssal Blade immediately on a hero at the start, just try and blow him up inside of that window. I mean, when you're surrounded, when you're in dead center of the Wukong's command, it does not take very long for you to die with all of those statues hitting you at once.
And you get this outer ring with that talent. I mean, Yatoro might not be able to jump far enough out of it.
Yeah.
Before he tanks a heavy price. However, right now, he is still king, man. Satanic finished on top of Mindbreaker with a double damage. He is looking to end this game right now. This is a crazy damage
pick off on anybody at this point. It would feel really good. It's just going to be the Rubik for
time
now.
walk. Insania says, not today, my friends. That is a lasso gone. Another 50 seconds for the next one to be up for Larl. He will catch nothing.
Only the wary might find us.
Time for Liquid to continue to build into this late game.
See the TP out from Collapse, so Liquid know that top lane is free to farm likely.
This There's also time for Collapse's buyback to come back up. You're going into this next Roshan. It'll be there for that fight. They're going to look at a very similar scenario, and it probably will be another dire side nighttime Roche. So if you're Team Spirit, you're kind of okay just waiting for that next objective here, playing as a tight ball, not giving up any free core on the map, and committing buybacks for that next Roshan. It's going to be a refresher shard. The dream for the Faceless Void here is if one Chrono's not enough, then surely two will claim somebody.
It could just turn into a battle of the initiations then at that point.
I think it is.
Liquid, you may need to get the song initiation and try and blow up the Faceless Void first. Otherwise, double Chronospheres are probably too much for you to handle.
Radiant's
They
bottom
will smoke.
tower is under
They will
attack.
look for the jump. They are still missing the level
Are
25
scanning.
talent on the Snapfire, but they have it for the Monkey King. This is a smoke that Zai is not in, however. This feels a little wasted. I don't think you can run in and take the fight without your Naga Siren. Way too much net worth on this hero.
Maybe they're going to try to bait him as he runs down mid lane.
I mean, Team Spirit are they're just already up top, man. They're gearing up for this next Roshan. Likely going to plant their vision up here. Ninja Gear gem for Larl. He just gets to run through and scout everything out. Make sure there is no vision for Liquid on this side of the map. It'll turn nighttime in 30 seconds and that Roshan will spawn. I mean, it's coming. It's going to be a while, but it is eventually coming here.
The Mines have given Team Spirit, I mean, they kind of already know it playing top lane, but they do know exactly where Team Liquid has been recently with the remote mines blasting off. Larl sees another opportunity.
Well, he might get two.
He's going to get 2 for 1. He brings in Nisha, setting up the Chronosphere. Perfect for Team Spirit. Just the kind of pickup they were looking for to crack open the high ground again. And now Team Liquid are scrambling out on the map because they do not want to take
Collapse
this at a
just
3
running
versus
into
5.
them.
And Collapse is just running into them. So now it's not a 3 versus 5. It's a 3 versus 4, but without Wukong's command.
I mean, Zai is going to wrap this out. There's a lot of building damage between the Monkey and the Naga here. I think you have to come back if you're Team Spirit. That double kill that looks so good suddenly does not feel great as you're trading out here. Yatoro will definitely be faster. Larl shows it's going to force them back, and Liquid are going to go for the catch on the Faceless Void.
They found the strike into the arrow. They're trying for the fast pick off on Miposhka. Any kind of
bashes.
Boy, that
Bashes.
time walk just destroyed him. What kind of bashers that?
Is this man mortal? I don't understand. He has no BKB. Arrow coming out.
They hit
had
the
to
arrow.
wait.
It's going to come out. It lands onto him. A bash comes out. Bound the strike. They try and give him the force staff. That's not good enough.
He is indeed mortal. Liquid make the Yatoro Faceless Void bleed with a short duration arrow. That force staff not in time. You cannot get
He bashes and Abyssal Blade. So one support sneaks away. But losing a second lane of barracks does cause Liquid some concerns. They do have a Naga Siren, so these losses aren't the worst, but Team Spirit is getting closer and closer to an endgame scenario.
Man, what a strange exchange. That just seemed like a free lane for Team Spirit off the double find, and suddenly Liquid staying out on the map is the name of the game here as they find a big opening with that collapse kill, and suddenly that exchange is not the worst, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the second lane, like you said, it sucks, but you do have the Naga Siren who can deal with it. And no BKB on Yatoro means you can just song arrow him out here. And this, the one stun there's no save for.
This is a show of strength, then being able to blow up the Faceless Void off of a song, because that song setup is even more deadly, right? We talked about the song into the Wukong's command. Now it's song into Wukong's command and Aghanim Scepter statues. Mickey's going to be able to set up a lot more damage in an area when they hit the song.
Tanky too, man. 4,000 HP on this Monkey. He's got a lot of armor in the ring as well. You get that Wukong off the start, even if you chrono him. Do you have the damage to bring him down?
You may have gotten 2 lanes of barracks, but if you want to hold on to your buybacks, you're probably going to be losing something as well. The arrow's going to come out. BKB, Bat Rider goes out. Song also being used. They're going to try and get Mickey a TP out, and he does get it. It was a close call, but it looks like Liquid are going to get away.
I mean, Collapse had a Hex there. Zai almost ran out of the song range. You got to be careful on who you leave behind, as Roshan will spawn. That objective that Team Spirit were setting up for, it seems so long ago, is finally here. Do they have the buybacks to expend on the dire side Roche? 2 minutes left for it. And they have 2 of their big cores. Collapse still does not have his as he has just been buying out this entire game.
Yeah.
Looking for a late game Aghanim Scepter. Is there a Dispel for it? Not really. There's pretty much nothing. could be a pretty big factor in these late fights. It's not an item you expect to come out near the end of the game. It's usually a tempo item.
Considering his rather aggressive style of initiation, yeah, that could be very important. Anything to tank him up more.
I like the Zag's idea from Collapse. I think allowing him to go in first and not just get bursted off some ensnare arrow is going to feel really good for Spirit. Prolong the fights, make him a threat, because so far, honestly, the team fights have not been going great for the Timbersaw here. You're just getting trapped in the Wukongs. Maybe it's just about who gets here first, as Team Spirit are going to claim Roche control in terms of the area. Again, if you can get your monkey set up somewhere with some statues and a Wukong, it's the type of fight that Liquid are probably looking for.
Yeah, Team Liquid's not particularly close to the Roshan pit, so if Team Spirit just commit, they're gonna get it.
This is just like last game. Collapse on illusion duty with a boots travel as Zai tries to create some tower pressure. It'll be a Moonlight Shadow to lead the charge. Proximity Mine sends the warning here. Dust comes out. That is
Yatoro very close to finishing this up. The arrow is going to come in. Mickey just jumps straight into the middle of it. Wukong's command, but it's not inside the pit. It's not looking that great unless they can get the telekinesis. The bash and Abyssal Blade is so close. Yatoro does die. Immediately buys back. They need to get into this pit now while they can. See if they can blow up the Monkey King, drag him out of his Wukong's command. The Roshan's going to die in a second here, but Nisha's banging for the kill. He gets the kill, but Yatoro hits the Chronosphere. He takes everything inside of it. The stolen Chronosphere is going to be able to catch the backlight of Team Spirit, however, but the buybacks are running a little thin for Team Liquid. They're trying to get away from Zai, but so much control. And CD with the Stolen Blast Off hits a good stun, and now Mickey's back into it. A beautiful Boundless Strike with the Shredder pumping into Team Spirit. They couldn't handle that one, but they do have the extra lives. Yatoro comes back immediately into the stun. The statues are not enough. Another Chronosphere, and Nisha's gonna die as well. They'll collect Zai on the end of it, and this is the end game for Team Spirit. This is the Yatoro Faceless Void. You let him have it a second time, and Yatoro will make you pay.
A big itemization toggle here from Yatoro as he just brings everything out of the Roche pit in the first life. The second life, with that refresher shard, getting him a second chrono and a divine rapier just to pump in the building damage here. 10,000 damage done from the Faceless Void, but damn, did Mickey almost turn that fight with a Boundless Strike into the Shredder multi-shot.
Yeah.
You had some crits flying out that might have just turned that. However, 4 heroes dead for Liquid with no buyback.
Yeah, look at him desperately trying to use couriers to delay, but nothing can stop Yatoro.
That's game 2 right there. That is going to make this series
the game where it looked nigh impossible at times. Man, this team has so much heart.
Yeah, when it comes to drafting for scaling, Team Spirit, they're